This divergence allows for extremely detailed supervision without requiring the creators to themselves exist for billions of years. It is a way to bypass the temporal limits imposed by biological lifespans, aging, and decay. Some versions of the theory even suggest that the supercomputer might remain connected to the universe to create, at least for a time. This connection could be used to inject information, monitor progress, or even steer the early stages of galaxy formations and elemental synthesis. Eventually, the connection might sever, either due to energetic constraints or philosophical reasons. Perhaps the creators believed in non-interference, allowing the new universe to evolve freely. Or perhaps they see it as a kind of cosmic seed that must be let go in order to grow. The ethics of such a project cannot be ignored. If a new universe contains conscious beings, then the act of creating it carries responsibility. What if the universe is unstable? What if its inhabitants suffer? These concerns mirror ancient theological questions about divine creation, suffering, and free will. In this light, universe replication becomes not only a scientific feat, but a moral undertaking. The creators must weigh the risk and benefits, the potential for flourishing versus the dangers of harm. It is a form of stewardship on a scale previously unimaginable. Although this theory remains beyond the reach of current technology, the foundations are already being laid. Our understanding of black holes is improving through observation of gravitational waves and high-resolution imaging. Quantum information theory is pushing the limits on what can be computed and how systems can be entangled across space. Philosophers and scientists alike are beginning to take serious the idea that intelligence may be an essential component in the life cycle of universe or universes. If these trends continue, then what now seems impossible may eventually become the focus of real engineering and exploration. Now it's like I said, I have maybe an hour before I have to go and do a I have to go and do a simulcast for Dragus Production. They're doing Censorship Sucks tonight, so I wanted to come on and get this episode done. And also, I wanted to point out that this is a part of the topic that I brought up in the last episode. Now, the last episode, I was talking about astro engineering, and there is a theoretical, scientific theory. Yeah, well, it's just a theory, I guess, and it's called the developmental singularity hypothesis. Now, this is actually a pretty interesting topic, and here before long, I would love to get into this more, and I will be bringing it up on other streams and stuff. Now, I do have more topics on the subject, and I am wanting to get into it and start start getting into this, but I am also wanting to cover more stuff that seems to be weird science as well. So what I'm doing is I'm breaking them up into roughly about 3 topics so that I can have 3 topics that I can go over in one episode. And this, sorry, this was one of the 3 topics that I was going to bring up. And like I said, I am in a kind of in a jam at the moment. I have less than 40, I have a little bit over 45 minutes to get everything set up and do another simulcast tonight. I ended up having electric out or internet. The internet went out just before 5 o'clock, so I didn't have any time to do my, or I wasn't able to do my stream, and I had it timed to where I could be on at 5 p.m. my time to do my stream, and then be able to have a little bit of time in between before I did that simulcast. And tonight I was only able to get on just around 5:45, which really messed up my timing. So I decided that I was going to come in and I was going to bring this up and read it, bring the topic up. Now, I had heard about this theory a while back, and it's taken me forever to actually find it. And when I did finally find it, I started doing some research into it. The thing that really caught my mind is this developmental singularity hypothesis. That's actually interesting in its own self, where it talks about instead of exploring out into space, we start going inward, and it describes how we've been doing our technology. It kind of shows that in a physical way, how like our phones, like if you look at how small our phones are getting, or how they were at one time. Now they're kind of flat, but they're still bigger, you know what I mean? But even though they're bigger in that sense, they're still flat. And the whole point of that is our technology is getting smaller. Things aren't as big and bulky as what they used to be, and it seems that we are actually going compact. And that theory poses the question on what if we're looking out into space and we're doing all the wrong things when it comes to looking for intelligent life. And that is very, very profound, especially whenever you really get into the whole ufology thing, because you start picking up on these little videos and these little articles that people talk about. Like on Mars, there's some people who believe that Martians are actually little bitty people. They're small, and there is life on Mars, but they're small, and that's why whenever you go on and you see photos of Mars and they point out this little bitty image, or part of the image that looks like a little bitty creature, that's why they point that out, is because that's kind of what they're going after with Mars, kind of like this developmental singularity hypothesis, where they actually make themselves smaller than what we are. You know what I mean? So that does make a pretty interesting topic. You know what I mean? So I think that is something that I've always been interested in. When I first heard it, it was from this one guy. He was on YouTube, and I still can't remember the name of his website or the name of his channel on YouTube, but he had like a speech problem, and he was a scientist, He wasn't into ufology or anything. He just wanted to say, you know, he wanted to say if there was aliens, this would be the most logical thing, you know. And he came out with this. And he also started talking about quasars, how quasars could be beacons for like aliens to map out where they are in the cosmos. And I thought that was pretty cool too. So eventually, if I'm lucky, I will be able to get that going and maybe do some more stuff into that. And like I said, I apologize for today's stream being short, because it is going to be short. And the only reason why it's going to be short is because I lost my internet, and I do have to actually do a stream tonight for somebody else. So now the whole thing that I was talking about with this theory, what I said in the last one is it's an inward trajectory, and that's how they defined it. Um, it's a space-time energy matter compression, where instead of us growing out and trying to travel the stars, which everybody knows that it's going to take a lot to get any significant amount of distance. But instead of doing that, we start thinking of compression rather than exploration, basically. You know what I mean? Look at the inner space rather than the outer space. And that is what I did last week. It said in that one, it said, in this process, as civilizations become more intelligent, their use of space becomes more compact. Their interaction with time becomes faster and more deliberate. Their energy usage becomes more refined, and their relationship with matter becomes increasingly optimized. And that was a part of what I was looking for. But the truth of the matter is when it comes down to it, it's actually this week's topic. This is the one that I was really, really fascinated with the idea that there's a theory, there's an actual theory out where they're talking about actually having a universe created near a black hole, and like everything in nature, no matter what, has to go through the process of decay. You know what I mean? Material comes into the world, and it has to decay. And that's just, I mean, science has confirmed that, you know. But what this brings up is the idea that it doesn't have to be that way later on as technology grows. If you can put this, or if you can create a universe near a black hole, and you can have this computer, this super computer